So not too long ago, I made a 1/25th scale of my own personal Mustang, which is a 2011 in red candy tint. Here's the hood from the bad version of that one, and here's the hood from the one I'm doing today. So nice. I got the gloss beautiful. It is glassy. But anyway, let's actually go through this process. Starting with, well, a little bit of housekeeping. If you remember in the red candy tint Mustang, I showed a picture of all three Mustangs. Mine, the 2011 red candy tint, a 2003 Sonic Blue Mustang, as well as a 2014 Mustang in silver. Today we will be working on the 2003 V6 Mustang in blue, specifically Sonic Blue. The kit that I will be using today is a 1999 SVT. I think technically it's one of the Terminator variants. I don't know. I don't really remember too much from that era. But all these pieces here will be a beautiful, not V6 Mustang. So let's get to making this thing. And while I'm not going to show all of the building process, I do want to talk about these chrome bits. So I am intending to use just the side mirror, whatever you want to call them, glass things. Beyond that, the whole thing is going to disappear and become this just regular, normal white plastic. That's it. Nice and fancy. For those wondering, the reason I do this is because I don't like the way when you cut it off the sprue, there's always a little piece of the original plastic showing, and either you have to touch it up or do something else, so I'd rather just make it my own chrome. Anyways, some interesting things about this kit are, it's pretty bad. So the Mustang logo that's floating in the center of the front grille here, I had to make a custom wire apparatus just to hold it because per the instructions, it just magically floats. And this was done with a simple small piece of copper wire, just kind of super glued to the bottom and then glued to the logo. So nothing crazy. And here are almost all of the pieces that will be used today. There's some that I kind of forgot about, but you know, we don't talk about it. Let's talk sub-assemblies. While those little bits are questioning their life decisions, let's prepare everything by stabbing a toothpick into their weird rear ends. Not subtextually. And while I'm debating my life choices, this is the primer I'm using. It is Autoborn Sealer in Gray by Createx. Let us prime. Once primed, we can move to our base color / shadows, and that is Createx Black. Now while I'm spraying this, really just the lower section of this Mustang body, I do actually want to talk about the real car in question. Now I don't remember exactly when we bought it for my brother, but it was someone else's project car that I believe he inherited from somebody else. And oh my god, this guy did not know how to do basic stuff. So the dude installed a 1000-watt sub, and I don't remember, and I think a 4000-watt amp. All that across 8-gauge wire, which is already pretty small for that application. And then, to top it all off, like all of the connections going to the speakers themselves, didn't use a wire nut, didn't do anything. It was just raw wires with a little bit of electrical tape around them. Which was probably the reason why the speaker kept cutting in and out at random times. Yeah, that was fun fixing that mistake. Stories aside, while she's not fully dry, here is the fully blacked Mustang body. Now that black is a little bit glossy, so I'm going to use some Vallejo Mecha matte varnish and give it a suitable base for all the rest of the colors, as well as make all like the fabrics look fabric-like. Don't believe me that it's really glossy? Here's the interior, and it's shiny. Note specifically on these chairs here, like they are really shiny, like they're leather. No, my brother has cloth seats. They should not be shiny in the slightest. That is much better. So I did try and make the center console as well as like the armrest thing keep those glossy as well as where the speaker areas, because those kind of were. But the seats, the carpet, the rest of it, that is matte and much more cloth-like. But that's really about it for the interior. It's just black on black in there. Moving closer to the ground, I'm going to use some of this neutral gray by Ammo and make some metal looking pieces. So here's the IRS that the SVT is known for, all done in that gray. If we notice, the original black color that I laid down just builds these tiny little shadows and make it darker in these areas. It's a really nice effect. So for clarity's sake here, these are all the non-body shell pieces. Things that are gray are now gray. Other than the undercarriage, I still got a little bit more work with that. But other than that, they're basically ready to go. I may do a little bit of touch up here, like add some of the belts to the engine bay and whatnot, but for the most part, I'm not going to touch these things beyond what you see here. So let's brighten up your nightlife. These are the headlight housings, and I'm using some steel to give them that background chromish color that we stripped off before. So I guess I should talk about the car's undercarriage. Don't worry, I'm saving the body for last. And as you can see, I have added some brass and some copper to the rotors, some silver for the calipers. Then I mounted the engine, blacked out the intake and all the belts, just to make it look a little bit more lived in. Underneath, I added, for all the rails, those are all getting that same neutral gray, blacked out the cowls for the wheels, and then an Iraqi sand for the non-rust proof layer, whatever that is. And then from there, I've added the wheels. They were sprayed in that same steel color, added the rubber to them, and then they're supposed to be a press fit, but I said, oh no, that ain't happening, so cut those off a little bit and then super glued them on. Well, after I broke things. And now for the real color, the main event. This is Mission Models Pearl Deep Blue. It is almost exact to the color I need. Maybe a little bit too shiny, a little bit bright, but still very good. Alrighty, starting with the hood from before. We're going to take that blue color from before and just lay down a nice even coat. And because this is Mission Models, I've had problems in the past with certain clears and paints not really liking each other. Namely, they bubbled and yeah, it was bad. What I'm going to do is give this, about overnight, almost a day to fully cure. But before then, after spraying a really heavy coat, I just wanted to show what we're working with. This is it, still wet, but whew, that's mighty fine looking. About a day later, both parts are done, and we have this guy. Now he's a little bit matte, that's from the paint. He's also a lot more brighter than normal because, well, it's metallic, and as it dries, the metallic comes out a little bit more. But this is the perfect base for a nice, good gloss. What gloss, you might add? Well, this is Liquitex High Gloss. This is actually my second attempt with this stuff, and I think I've gotten the ratios just much, much better this time. See that? Now that is what I call a really good gloss coat. Well, close enough. I did actually go back and repaint this one in particular, but we're not going to talk about it. Part of what makes a really good gloss is actually the application, not just the paint. In my case, I am using a Krios Mr. Hobby Pro Convoy, whatever you want to call the full name, it's a mouthful. This is a P290 with the 0.5mm nozzle and a fan cap on installed. PSI is probably like 25 or something, it's pretty high. I bring all this up because at around the early 2000s, the Ford's Mustangs ended up having a known problem. And not a mechanical problem. No, they had a problem where after a couple years, the clear would fail. And in particular, my brother's Mustang, this 2003 Mustang, the clear has failed so much that you can easily just take your hand and basically scrape off giant pieces of it as it's going. So one of my goals in making this, I'm actually making them as Christmas presents for all my brothers, is to make them, well, pristine, really cool, you know, especially for him, since his clear is, honestly, it's gross, it's bad, it's a shame, really. While I don't have a paint booth capable of spraying a full car, at the very least I can offer him this, a small memento of what his car is, what his car was brand new. And I think there's something special in that. So while I'm about to kind of skip ahead to the finished product, this video's gone on long enough, I do just want you to remember that there are other people in your life that are special to you. And so here is the final piece. So I, went ahead, added in all of the windshields, the plastic for the headlights, the taillights, gave those a little bit of paint because they're supposed to. Also did some of the custom work that the guy before my brother did, so the spoiler being black, the thing around the license plate being black, and there's a little bit below too. And then some of the other smaller stuff, like made the exhaust tips metallic, like in my Mustang that I did, as well as the pony on the front, that also needed to be silver, but beyond that, it was just push it together, call it a day. So if you like what you see and want to see some more, feel free to subscribe. I won't be doing the final Mustang in the series, I'm running out of time and want to get it done. And if you saw something that I did that was so awesome that you gotta tell me about it, or if it was something that I did that was horribly egregious, I don't judge. Let me know in the comments, as well as give this video a like just to show your love. Otherwise, have a wonderful rest of your week. Thanks. Bye.